What's up? Today we got the Thunderman's Season 1, Episode 13, Thundersense. This episode starts off at the Thunderman's kitchen, where we see Hank asking Nora to get Phoebe and Max dinner. So Nora yells, "Phoebe, Max, dinner!" She doesn't yell it like that, but it's just funny to... And then Hank's like, "Not what she meant," and she yells, "Sorry!" Just Billy says, "Ooh, spaghetti meatballs." And Hank says, "Oh, Barb." And Barb says, "Yes, Hank, she made him his giant meatball." Hank says, that's why he loves her and married her. But then he lies, saying that he loves her that she's pretty and she has great hair and she's smart and all that other stuff. Max and Phoebe fight, saying like, Phoebe's older. Max says by 20 seconds, and Phoebe says, "But best 20 seconds of her life, yo." Then Billy slips, saying, "Here's your meatball, Dad." And then Phoebe unknowingly catches it. Max is like, "Phoebe, you weren't even looking. How'd you know that meatball was gonna hit you?" And she's like, "I don't know. She just sensed some meaty danger." And Barb says, "And a tingling sensation?" Yeah, and then she's like, "That means..." Then Billy's like, "Phoebe's a witch. Let's see if she melts." Okay, Nora trying to murder Phoebe. Weird, but he's like, Hank's like, your sister is not a witch." And then Hank's like, well, Max is like, let's vote. Who thinks Phoebe's a witch? They all, Max, Billy, Nora all raise their hands when Nora puts their hands down and says that Hank says that Phoebe is developing her thundersense. She can sense danger right before it happens. Barb says it's a step to becoming a great superhero. Nope, it's not, Barb. Barb, you lie. Barb, you're SBE guilty. Barb, you're guilty of lying to Phoebe's. You're guilty of lying to Phoebe's face and telling her she's gonna be a great superhero. Guilty. Judgment mode. Barb, I have contained you. Let me out. Kidding, of course, but Barb, you're guilty of lying to Phoebe and saying that she's going to be a great superhero despite this ability never being used again. Judgment mode. I wish I had the real SPD thing, but I have to use a fake pretend one. But still, that was a good joke. Yeah. Again, Barb is lying because this ability is never used. This whole thundersense thing is never brought up or used again. So how is this her great way to becoming a great superhero if none of them ever use it? Phoebe never uses it. Yeah. Phoebe said, and Hank says, Phoebe's already making the world safer for meatballs because that's Hank's character, that he eats a lot. So Billy says, since Phoebe and Max are twins, Max must have the thunder sense. Billy then throws a bread at Max. And Billy says, "No thunder sense." Max says he has a lot of things that Phoebe doesn't have. And Phoebe says, like bad grades and dumb faces. Barb says that's not true. Says, "Not to feel bad, Max, or to make the face he's making." Phoebe says, "Just to know that she's better than him." Barb says that's not true. Barb got her thundersense when she was 17. We've never seen her use it, or not even, she doesn't even use it in this episode, but just to know she has it. It's never used again, and we don't even see what Barb's thundersense looks like, nor we never see what Hank's thundersense looks like. but it's just to be like, hey, they have it, but the show never develops on why their thundersense never activates. It never develops on it. Phoebe asks Hank when he got his thundersense, and Hank says it doesn't matter. Then he says he got it when he was 12. Billy says since Max was born 20 seconds after Phoebe, he got his thundersense now. North throws the Hank's giant meatball at Max, and then she says, "Yep, no thundersense." Then Hank tries to make sure his meatball is okay because again, his character said he likes eating. After the opening, at Himmelville High, Phoebe goes to talk to Cherry, and Cherry says there's something different about her, Phoebe. Phoebe says maybe it's a spring in her step, and says that she's being capable of doing great things. Cherry says no, she thinks that Phoebe's shirt is inside out. Max sneaks up behind Phoebe and saying, guess she didn't sense that, did she? And Phoebe says, thundersense detects danger, not inside out shirts, or brothers who forget to brush their teeth. Don't worry, this becomes a one plot pointed joke that I'm like, why? The whole thing is that Phoebe says this, Max checks his breath, but then later in the scene he's brushing his teeth. Like why did we have to develop on a joke? Phoebe could have just said it, Max checks his breath, and then we could have been done. But nope, we had to see Max brushing his teeth later on in the scene to say, hey, now the joke's completed. We'll never hear it referenced again, but now we can do the Max joke. Why? It's not a joke that needs to be developed on. Phoebe says Max has bad breath. Max checks his breath, and that's it. We did not see him amid brushing. Anyway, later on in the scene, which I'll get to. Yeah. Phoebe and Max say yeah at each other again like they did in the second episode, which is a good callback. Then again, Max checks his breath, leaving. The lunch lady is having trouble when Tyler, Volt character, which hasn't been seen since episode 6, and he wouldn't make his final appearance until season 2, penultimate episode. But here he is, just saying that he's in the episode, asking the lunch lady if she needs help. But the lunch lady says, in her country, she rode billy goats. Wait, no. It says, in her country, she lifts goats 3 goats at one time and tells Tyler to beat it. Like she tells him to shoo, but beat it is better. Wow. So her cart goes tumbling. Phoebe uses thundersense to activate and pushes blonde student who is probably extra out of the way. Yeah, she's probably an extra. She pushes the extra who's never given a name and is never actually seen again after this episode. She's just there to be walking by. Phoebe's thundersense activates and she just pushes the random extra out of the way. And I like talking in this accent because it's fun. Anyway. Yeah. The students applaud Phoebe. Max, again, the joke, Max comes in amid brushing his teeth and asks what happened. It's, why did we need a joke? Why did we need it? Why did we need to finish this joke? Why? Why, writers? It did not need to be finished. Phoebe says he has bad breath. Max checks his breath. End scene. We did not need to have we did not need a scene of Max brushing his teeth, coming out mid-brushing and ask what's going on. That did not need to happen. We had the joke, we had the punchline, we did not need the conclusion. Anyway, yeah. Meanwhile, Max is later. Max has been Meanwhile, Max is later. Max says that he's using not having his thunder sense to get as a way to get gifts out of Barb. Dr. Colosso is dressing in a golf outfit because that's his character. He's likes dressing up because that's all he can do in a basement where he has nowhere to go. He literally said that in episode 10 that literally since he's stuck in a basement all day, he has nothing better to do but then changing different outfits. Because I understand Dr. Colosso. Like, if you're stuck in a basement all day in the form of a rabbit, you can't move or go anywhere, of course you would want to dress up as different characters. Yeah. Max says that if he keeps working on Barb, he's gonna keep working on Barb so he can get his 2,000 terabyte supercomputer with satellite connectivity. He says after Phoebe's big save today, Barb has been really trying to make him feel better about not having his thunder sense. Barb sends down brownies. Dr. Colosso puts a golf ball, causing it to ricochet, and Max unknowingly catches it, meaning he has his thunder sense. Max says he doesn't want to have his thunder sense, and Barb comes to give Max his milk. Max whines about not having his thunder sense, and says the only thing that will make him feel better is a terabyte supercomputer. Barb says, "Want a hug? 2 hugs, bro?" And he's like, "No, Pete just doesn't have his thunder sense." So Barb's like, "Bro, I'll get you that supercomputer." And of course, Max smiles at Dr. Colosso because his plan is actually working. Meanwhile, the thunderman house, Hank tells Phoebe that they're ready for their weekly superhero training, and Max says he'd let it go. Max says that he'd like to skip on his superhero training, saying he's dead weight without the thunder sense, and his thunder weight is kind of riding up in the back. Hank says training might be what Max needs to restart his thunder sense. To jumpstart his thunder sense. And as for the wedgie, he learns to live with it. Hank says that Max must stand on a console blindfolded and try to sense as Billy and Nora firing tennis balls at him. Nora says, "They'll be gentle." Crank it up, Billy. Okay. Again, Hank, you literally said in an earlier season, you said in episode 8, that you were terrified of Nora. Why would you give her the availability to be controlled to be controllable at a firearm that she could use? I know it's a tennis ball launcher, a tennis ball gun, but still, he literally said in episode 8, which was 13, 12, 10, 9, 8. That was 5 episodes ago. He said 5 episodes ago that he was terrified of this girl, and now he's really gonna let the girl that he's scared of man a weapon that could hurt Max. Wow. Yeah. Barb comes in asking how the train's going. Hank says they're getting started, and Hank tells Max to focus that will rev up his thunder sense. Billy and Nora fire, and Max says he wishes he knew where the balls were coming so he could avoid them. Barb calls Max her poor, brave little hero, and she's gonna put his super, very expensive supercomputer. I just love how Rosa Blasky said that line. She knew she had to go hard, so she said expensive. Like that was I don't know how to reenact what she said, but I got it down. She basically said it, and I just love the way she said it. Wait. I thought the way she said it. So yeah, and Hank's like, "Very what?" And she's like, "Nothing." Hank goes to see what's keeping Phoebe, and Nora lets Max have it with shooting tennis balls at him. So they shoot tennis ball until Max unknowingly catches it. Billy questions him on it, but Max slides away to avoid question. Billy says, "Let's go figure out what Max is up to," and Nora shoots a tennis ball at Billy's butt, covering for it by saying her hand slipped. But we all know that it's Nora, so she intentionally fired at Billy. I thought he was your best. He literally says that she literally says later on that Billy's her best friend, but that Nora and Billy are apparently best friends, despite how Nora constantly tries to harm him. Wow. Later on, which we'll get to that episode, I think Nora and Billy later said that they're best friends, but Nora continues to harm him. I don't think it's playfully, but anyway. So yeah, so as they leave, Phoebe and Hank show up. Phoebe is egotistically telling Cherry that she doesn't need to be she doesn't need to be a hero, but Cherry can call her that. Okay, and then Cherry tells her without hearing Cherry's voice that Cherry's drinking a fan club name called Fanatic Phoebe's would be a good name. Hank says, "Bye, Cherry." And I think I'd love to hear Cherry on the other line say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Thunderman," but we don't hear that. Okay, bye, Mr. Thunderman, but we don't hear that. We just hear him hang up. Phoebe's kind of cocky in this moment because she's like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't need her superhero training. She doesn't need any superhero training." Yeah, she doesn't need... Yeah, Hank's like, "Let's go over the basics." And Phoebe gets a little cocky by saying she has her thundersense, meaning she doesn't need superhero training and is worthy of her super suit. Hank says, don't get cocky. The thundersense can be tricky, and it's hard to tell when the danger is if you're not focused. Then we see Phoebe texting on her phone. Phoebe says she saved a person. Doesn't Hank know what that feels like? And Hank replies to saying, "I'm Thunderman. Nice to meet you." Again, Phoebe, this is your dad. Phoebe says she's ready for anything, and Hank says, throws a tennis ball at her, and Phoebe telekinetically throws it down, saying, "See?" Then Hank throws a bunch of tennis balls at her, and Hank is like, "Here's a bunch of tennis balls! Bow, 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 bow!" And then he's like, "See?" Then in Max's lair, Max says, What made you think that he has thundersense? It's the most outrageous thing he's ever... They can't prove anything. Then Nora says, "Okay, stairs, let's go." "I guess we were wrong, Billy. Let's go back upstairs." Stairs, 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 stairs. But then she attempts to pour water on Max's supercomputer, causing Max's thundersense, which is the background of this video, to activate. And he freezes it, asking what they're doing. Nora says she has the thundersense. Wait, no, he has the thundersense. What is she? That was weird. Proving that he has the thundersense. Max calls the supercomputer his baby and is asking, "Did I splash you?" Nora says he's been playing Barb You Get Stuff. And Max says they got him. He has a good thing going. "Please don't tell Barb." And Nora says they won't, as long as Max says Barb get what they want. Max says, "What's that?" And Billy says, "A tangerine." Nope, not gonna mention it. Nora says, "I said a trampoline." And then Billy says, "That's so much better." Just no. No, I'm gonna stop getting angry over these whole Billy jokes because I know they're meant to be funny, but they're not. Because the writers continue to reuse them. The whole, "Oh, Billy's not smart." Anyway. Yeah. At Himbo High, Phoebe is talking about how she saved the student. And Cherry plays adventure music. Then Phoebe's thundersense activates, and she tries and ends up injuring a bunch of cheerleaders. Then the star quarterback trips on over the cheerleader's arm, injuring him, ruining the Actually, I think he's called the janitor, but I didn't know whether to call him the janitor or something, so I just called him the janitor. The janitor's award-winning roses. Now everyone turns against Phoebe for taking out the janitor, the cheerleaders, and the star quarterback. And Tyler says all this so we can know that he's there. Yeah, it's revealed that Phoebe's thundersense activated because a cherry was about to be hit by a frisbee, and it makes a small frisbee is able to give her a huge bump. We'll get to this angering scene and how it literally makes no sense later, but yeah, or in the next scene, but anyway, yeah. Cherry says, "How could you do this?" Then says, "Sorry, but everyone is mad at you. You broke the whole school. We're still besties. Get out of my sight. Call me later." And Phoebe leaves. Meanwhile, in Phoebe's bedroom, Phoebe is talking to Cherry about how the school hates her. And Cherry says, "Not everyone, just the ones in the hospital." Nickelodeon, thunderman writers, you decided to make a hospital joke. Literally everyone in the hospital, Phoebe, the cheerleaders, and the quarterbacks are all in the hospital because of Phoebe. And because of that, they don't like her. That is one of the most outrageous dark jokes I've ever heard. So, yeah. So Phoebe says she can't believe she let Cherry get hurt and has her head. Cherry reveals her bump, which is huge, now I can talk about it. I can talk about the scene because the scene is super annoying. One, how does Cherry get hit by a frisbee that is super small and get a bump that big? That is impossible. Two, how is it that big? Because that is unreasonably impossible for you to get a bump that big. And three, again, it's not even possible. You would be a small frisbee like that hit Cherry wouldn't have been able to give her a big bump. It would have given her a small bump, but not a big bump like that. That's impossible. That's impossible. It boggles the mind. Yeah, Phoebe says to Cherry's bump, but she lied, saying she thought it was her. She talks about it on her lump 4. Okay, good Kier Costman acting, but okay. I called Hank Hulk. I did not realize that in my script I called Hank Hulk. I called him Hulk. Hulk knocks on the door. I said that. I put that. I printed that. I did not know I wrote that. I thought I said Hank. Like I always do in all these videos. I always call Hank by his name. I never call him Mr. Thunderman or anything. I call him Hank. But I had no idea I put Hulk. So Hank knocks on the door wanting to talk to Phoebe. Phoebe says she has to go, and Cherry ends the call after cracking walnuts with her head, which I'm guessing is possible. Hank says, "Come on out of the room and talk about it." Phoebe says, "What is there to talk about?" She turned a pyramid of cheerleaders into a heap of broken arms and dreams. Hank says, like he said, thundersense can be tricky. Don't be hard on yourself. Phoebe says, "What if instead of cheerleaders, it's a pyramid of buses filled with orphans?" Hank says, "Why are there orphans stacking buses into a pyramid?" Phoebe says, "The orphans are in the bus. They're not stacking." Hank says, "Who's stacking the bus?" Phoebe says, "Just forget it." Phoebe says she's quitting being a superhero because she doesn't have what it takes. Phoebe says, Hank says, "That's silly. He's coming in," but can't because Phoebe says she locked the door. So she locks unlocks it. Phoebe says, "Look, someone got their tele-K on." Hank, don't. Just don't. Just don't try to be slangy. You're cool the way you are. Don't try to make slang. It makes you look outdated. And this show is outdated. The show, this episode premiered in 2014. Outdated already. I'm just saying, the show's already outdated, but this joke's outdated because Hank is trying to be outdated, but the show's already outdated. Outdatedness is just this show. Yeah. Phoebe says, "Here, Hank, take her super suit. Except for the belt because it goes along with her orange top." In the living room, Max tells Billy and Nora how Barb made him cereal and ice cream, and he wants to give the ice cream to them. Nora says, "Ice cream?" Nora says, "Ice cream? Nora can get ice cream whenever she wants. She's adorable." That she is. Billy says he'll take it, and Nora says, "Leave it, Billy. They didn't come all this way for Rocky Road." Nora says, "Get him the trampoline, or his supercomputer gets it." Then we see Barb. Max tries to talk to Barb and help him cheer him up for not having his thundersense by getting him a trampoline. Barb says sorry. She used all of Max's college savings on the supercomputer, and Hank looks to see Billy holding the supercomputer up and down as Nora tries to laser it as they smile deviously. Just like doing that. They smile deviously. Max says, "Please, he doesn't have his thundersense." Barb says, "How is the trampoline gonna help?" And then help him. And then Max becomes an emo for some reason by saying, "Nobody understands him." Yeah. So Barb buys him a trampoline, and Billy and Nora high five. Max says, "I love you, Barb." Then Billy and Nora smile. Again in the living room, Hank says that he got the perfect plan to restore Phoebe's confidence. Nora says, stuffing her in a sack? Weird, so weird. Nora had the same idea. So Nora's tried to stuff Phoebe in a sack while also trying to murder her. This episode's weird. This episode's weird with Nora's plots. Okay. Hank says no. They're gonna make her feel like a hero again with a badger. Billy says a dog. Laugh. Ha ha ha. Billy, you're funny. Ha ha. Again, no. This is not funny. It has nothing to do. Billy just thinks badgers look like dogs. What is funny about Billy thinking badgers look like dogs? Hank says no, it's a stuffed badger, Billy. And she doesn't say Billy, but I said Billy because it's just how I do because this whole Billy joke is ruined by this point. This whole, oh yeah, Billy doesn't get what they're saying. That's the entire joke. In the next episode, Billy does actually say something funny that I actually found funny, which I will reference in episode 14, Phoebe's a clone now. But for this episode, just no. Billy's not funny. What he says isn't funny, and I don't know why the writers try to get us to think what he says is funny, because they've ruined Billy's jokes, Billy's dumbness by now. Billy being not smart was once funny, but the more the writers used it, the more it became non-funny. So yeah, Hank says it's a stuffed badger, and they're gonna put it on Billy's arm, pretend it's attacking it. Phoebe freezes it, since she saved his life. Confidence restored. Barb says, "Isn't there another way of restoring Phoebe's confidence without using roadkill?" Hank basically just dismisses what Barb just said because he doesn't like his wife, and just says his plan is better because But Hank is egotistical sometimes. When he, yeah. But they need to get Phoebe down from her room. Barb yells, "Phoebe, there's a Channing Tatum movie marathon on." Phoebe says, "Sweet cheese!" Because that's her catchphrase. We know she says it all the time. We know she likes Channing Tatum. And then she goes downstairs. Billy speeds out, and then Phoebe comes down to see Billy being attacked by a badger. The funny thing is that they say, "Phoebe, do something," and she's like, "Who knows the number for animal control?" that gave me a small little reference where when Clark lost the ability to remember that he had superpowers. He thought he saw a criminal and Lois as Chloe. It was Chloe as Lois. It's like, "Clark, do something," and then he called 911. He said, "Call the thing for 911." He said police. That was just great. Yeah. Yeah, so it'll work. So Phoebe says that she knew. So then she uses her freeze breath to freeze it. Hank says, let there be a little. Hank says, let's hear for their little hero. Billy says, what about him? Do you think this kind of acting just happened? Phoebe says, acting? Hank says, Billy doesn't know what he's talking about. It must be the rabies. It must be making him a little delusional. Yeah. But then Phoebe uses her heat breath on the badger to reveal its stuff. Hank says, "It's stuffed with a Billy arm." Barb says, "It's over, Hank. It's over." Hank says, "It's over because Phoebe saved the day." And Phoebe says, "They staged a pay save. They didn't do anything. Only two of them did something. Barb and Nora just sat there. They didn't do anything." "What do you mean they staged a pay save? They did nothing. The two of them were the one who did. Hank and Billy were the one to do something. They, all four of them, the two of them, Barb and Nora, just sat there. Barb tried to stop Hank from doing what he was doing, but Hank just brushed her off because I'm guessing this episode is trying to prove that Hank's a bit of a jerk." But so Hank says that he thought she needed a little confidence boost to get her groove back. Phoebe says now she feels worth to their dead badger lies. At least she has a Channing Tatum movie to watch. Barb says, "Actually, Phoebe," and Phoebe says her whole life is a lie. Yeah. Meanwhile, outside, Nora tries to get on. Max gives Nora her trampoline and asks where the supercomputer is. Nora says, "Billy threw it in a lake." Max says, "What?" And she says, "Lighten up, Max. It's right behind you." And Billy gives Max back his supercomputer and leaves. Nora tries to get on the trampoline, but Billy says, "Step aside, Nora. He's got to get his balance on." He gotta get his bounce on. So hard, he bounces so hard that he lands himself on the roof. Billy calls for Nora. Nora calls for Phoebe. Phoebe sees this and is like, "Oh, Billy, you're such a great actor. You hear that, Hank? You hear that, Hank? You saved Billy yourself. And by save, I mean quote unquote save." And she abandons him. Wow, Phoebe. But I get where she's coming from. Last time she thought Billy was in danger, it was fake. So this time she just thinks that Billy's acting again. Billy says he's not, but Phoebe doesn't believe him and leaves. Her thundersense tries to tell her that Billy's in danger, but she just blows it off saying stupid thundersense. Then Billy's about to fall when Phoebe uses her telekinesis to save him. Use her telekinesis to save him for real. Barb asks, everyone comes outside to see. So Phoebe says she's sorry she didn't believe Billy. Everyone comes out to see Billy's alright, and Billy asks Phoebe, says Phoebe saved him for real. Barb asks Max why was Billy on his trampoline, and that she bought for him, and Max says it's not his trampoline. Let's hear it for Phoebe, everyone. Barb says she bought that trampoline for him to make him feel better because he didn't have his thunder sense. A mail almost falls on Nora, and Max unknowingly catches it. Says, "Hey everyone, look, he has his thunder sense just now. What a great for all of us." Billy says, "Take it from an actor in the family." No one's buying this. Barb says Max has been playing her this whole time, and she's taking away his supercomputer. Max says Nora and Billy made him buy the trampoline. Nora runs after Billy, Barb, Max, and says don't believe him. She's adorable. So yeah. So Hank says nice work, Phoebe. Phoebe says nailed it. She told me she was because Phoebe's trying to reference this is giving me a lot of Nicole Byer flashback. But Phoebe says she was the best. She's ready to go. She told me she was the best. She's ready to go quit school and go full-time superhero. Hank laughs and says that's not funny. And Phoebe says it's kind of funny and says, "Look, Hank, she's so sorry that she got carried away, and she still has a lot to learn." Hank says Phoebe will probably. She will. Phoebe asks for a super suit back, and Hank says and revealed that he put it in the laundry and it got shrunk because he doesn't have a laundry sense. Then Thurman talks because this episode will not end. That was a good way to end, guys. You didn't have to add this tacked on scene. We see Barb asking Hank why his giant meatball, because the ad to reference that, is in the fridge. It fell on the floor. Hank says it's healing. The refrigerator is like hospital for food. Barb says throw it away. Hank goes outside. Then soap opera music plays as Hank says he can't get rid of it. Barb says ADR-ish that because she wasn't saying it on screen that he isn't gonna eat it. Is he? Hank says no, that'd be gross. Throwing it far away was his super strength, but he looks sad that he did it. Then him to hide. Cherry shows up and Phoebe says her bump is gone. Then Phoebe says thundersense activates and tells Cherry to duck. Cherry says she likes duck. As Hank's giant meatball hits Cherry down. Phoebe asks Cherry if she's okay, and Cherry says don't worry about her. How's the duck? Then Phoebe looks to see it was her Hank's giant meatball that hit Cherry to end the episode, and thundersense is never used again.